Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Tommy's Tarot Time, and I am Tommy the Tarot Reader. So I'm doing a reading for Gemini, Gemini Sun, Gemini Rising, and this is not a long read, and this reading is for starting now. So let's see what the cards are saying. This is a short read, like I said. I'm not doing any specific spreads. You'll see what I'm doing. So Gemini has just gotten over some kind of conflict, possibly, that didn't feel good, but eventually it resolved itself, and is very happy for you. And because it resolved itself, you have all these options coming out of it. And you're not really quite sure what you want to do. So this doesn't look like a relationship. This looks more like if there has been any kind of conflict outside of an intimate relationship at work. Because this card writes that way is there has been some competition at work. And so if there has been competition at work, it's over. There's no longer competition at work. If the competition has been anywhere else outside of work, I don't know what other environments that there has been any kind of competition or conflict or any kind of battle with someone else. It could have happened 5 months ago. It has resolved. Coming out of it, you have options, and that's what this card is. So you did well coming out of this, whatever this is, battle, competition. You might have gotten a promotion. Or it allowed you to decide where you want to go next or what you want to do next, but it has freed you up, Gemini. I will clarify these cards. So the Queen of Wands here tells me that in some ways your fire got a little put out, you know. It's not, your fire, your passion isn't quite as hot. So I don't know what happened here that got you less excited. So let's see what's going on. These cards to me, this is a bit ambiguous for me, so I may pull more cards on it to clarify. So let's look at what the Five of Swords upside down really is. You know, I'm gonna just use these. Okay, so yeah, it looks like something would work. School, something where you might have won some kind of competition and you won it fairly and squarely, or some promotion and you won it fairly and squarely. 2 3s. So you won it fairly and squarely because you're the stronger communicator, you're the stronger leader, you're just stronger. And you know how to be a team player. That's why you won. You know how to communicate. You know how to get along with people. You know how to pull a team together and get something done. You know how to get ideas. You're just like a born leader through collaboration, right? So yeah, Gemini, you are just a born leader. Not the sense like you lead and tell people what to do. You lead by allowing people to come together and everyone is heard. You also know who to pick to create a strong team. You're going to find that you do have the skills. You know, you're kind of just starting to figure out that you're actually really very strong. You have very strong people skills, but you're a very strong manager, and you're very strong in terms of leading and getting something done. And whatever it is that you are headed towards, you're going to get it, because this is a wish fulfillment card. So sometimes you doubt yourself, but you work so hard and you know how to seek help from others, and others really, really like you, that you will get what you need. And you know what you need and what you want, because you work so hard at it. So, and you're humble. I think that's why this card's right. You're humble. Gemini. 3, 3, and 3. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, these are really beautiful cards. These 3 cards are amazing, and that's the clarifying card. So basically, whatever a little bit of doubt or what are you gonna do next is saying, like, you're going to keep working really hard, and you may work a lot harder than most people, and they're going to notice that because you work harder and you get things a lot faster. You just got to keep going. You have a bit of doubt here about yourself. You really just have to, there's doubt here, and I see it. You know, Gemini, you gotta like start having more confidence in yourself. You know, you really do. You're already doing all the hard work, but as you're doing the hard work, you can't be saying, what am I doing? Why am I, you know, you're questioning a lot. I know this card just came up. There's 3 3s on here. I'm going to pull another card. There's already 3 3s. So, I mean, that tells me that by April or May, something's going to come up. It's a really big deal. I feel like this is saying that you got to keep going. You can't give up. This isn't like some breakup. This is not a breakup. This is something that you are starting to lose sight on, or lose your, like it's starting to look blurry, but you can't give up, because you just can't, because this card is here and you have to keep going. You have to keep going, and it's going to feel a little bit up and down, but you have to keep going no matter what. You can't think like, oh, this is a bad idea, and then you realize, oh, I didn't get the recognition fast enough. That's why it's a bad idea. You know, it's a bad idea because you don't get this acknowledgement or validation quickly. You can't do that. You got to keep going. If you feel that what you're doing is the right thing, you got to keep going. You can't rely on validation to support it. You have to rely on your own research and knowledge and gathering all your information to back it up. You can't wait for someone to tell you it's right. You have to know in your heart of hearts that this is right. So a lot of this is you got to master your indecision through, you know, obtaining information, and you just got to keep going. Gemini, you know, like let's say the situation is at work. You've come up against some people who question your procedures, your methods. You listen to them and they still are coming at you, but you know your methods are right on. You can't listen to them. You have to actually really back yourself up. You have to back yourself up. You're going to get a lot of challenges coming up, you know. You got to back yourself up. Because the truth is, maybe your methods, I mean, the people already high, just above you already know maybe your methods are right on. But it's how you deal with people. That's what they're looking at. They're looking at you. How do you deal with these people who challenge you? Do you stress out? Do you get anxious? Or do you stand by with what you've done and you're like, well, you gotta stand by it. You have to have done a lot of work to stand by it, and you're open to whatever. You're open to other suggestions or options, but you cannot ever show that you've gotten anxious and doubtful and disempowered. You can't show that. You can't show that, because then the people above you will question not your work, because your work is good. They know your work, but it's your ability to back up your work and back up your word and your decisions and stand out. That's how they already know you can stand out, but you need to be able to, you know, to stand out and to back yourself up in front of snakes or people who challenge you and say like, oh, you're wrong. You're wrong. And your tendency is like, oh, maybe I am wrong. No, you're not wrong. When you say, maybe I'm wrong, yeah, you can't do that. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to say, no, I'm right. And why you're right. I mean, I'm not saying you should defend yourself in terms of like, we're not talking about a love relationship here where you are in some kind of feud all the time with someone. Hopefully that's not this reading, because that would be terrible. Because if that is the case, you're going to find out that you have to leave the relationship because you're feuding too much. So you got to leave. And when you leave, you're going to have a lot more options. So there's different scenarios these cards are showing. But if you are feuding with someone, you're going to leave. All right? Because there's no more passion. And you always lose in the argument. So yeah, you're done arguing. If this is a relationship, but I'm talking about the work scenario or some kind of other scenario like a school, research, writing, some other scenario where you got to keep going. You can't give up. You cannot give up. And you have to keep going. So that's what I have for you, Gemini. You do have 3 threes, so April is probably a very big month for you. Okay, so I'm going to pull one Romance Angels cards, and let's see what it has for Gemini. Let's see what the Romance Angels card Very soon, clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. Well, you know what, Gemini? You're manifesting, so cut out the self-doubt, you know? If your self-doubt is not based on information and just based on your emotions, and you can't do that. You may need to see someone and talk about that self-doubt based on something else. But if you actually have something you're going for and your self-doubt is blocking you for going towards it, there is the whole thing of that you get in your own way. Don't get in your own way. You get out of the way, do what you do best, and go for it, Gemini. Go for it. You have to completely focus and go for it. And if there's anyone that gets in your way that makes you a little anxious, you have to blast through that. You have to really stay focused, laser focused, because you know exactly what you want. These cards doesn't necessarily mean indecision, but somewhere inside of you, there's this like little 24 karat gold inside of you, and it's talking to you and it's saying, you know exactly what you want and you know exactly what's good for you, and you have to go for it. Okay, Gemini, that's what I have for you. And this is Tommy the Tarot Reader. If you like my reading, I'll hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. But this is again Tommy the Tarot Reader signing out. I will see you at my next reading.